We heard that very early in the production of Teflon products, there was a manufacturer up in the Midwest who called and said, "We want you to come over here and look at this. We're heating up this Teflon." And we heard this pounding noise on the roof. It sounded like a hailstorm. It was a flock of birds. As they were flying over where the vent was, they just dropped out of the sky.
By 1984, the company knew that the material was going into the Ohio River, was going up into the air, and weren't telling the community about it.
The particles in the air that came up into our old lab, we always wondered what it was. It wasn't dust. It was a white kind of material. It was all over the plant, in the air.
C8 is one of the elements they need to make Teflon.
PFOS, PFOA, C8, these are all names for this group of miracle chemicals that came out of primarily 3M initially and out of DuPont.
Teflon is a very generic term. The active ingredient in it is fluorine. You hear the word F in that, right? PFOA, PFOS, anything with the F in it is something you want to be very wary of.
These chemicals have these wondrous properties: non-stick, oil repellent, water repellent.
How do you recall C8 first coming to your attention?
First recollection I have of it is when the supplier of the chemical, the 3M company, provided DuPont with some information about rats that had been subjected to exposure to the chemical.
3M had some test data indicating potential birth defects here in the eyes of rat fetuses following exposure to C8, correct?
That's correct.
So you did see there was a substantial risk to the women at the DuPont plant who were exposed to C8, enough to remove them from further exposure, correct?
No. There was
No?
There was no potential risk to the women. Based upon the 3M study, there was a potential risk to the fetus.
He was born with half of a nose, one nostril, a serrated eyelid, and a keyhole pupil where the iris and the retina is not connected. You could tell he was in distress because he couldn't breathe really well. I was scared to death to hold that baby. I was scared he's going to die in my arms.